You are not putting it through the door. You go up to that door. Oh, really? You go up to that door and you knock on the door and you say, "Hello, Mr. Number 43. I'm your paperboy."
Hi everyone, welcome to today's podcast number 11. And I've got to say, I always say this, my favorite special guest, extra special guest, Sacha Bright. Mate, how are you?
I'm good.
I know you're not going to keep it at that level. Can you move your camera a bit so we can see the whole laser on tour?
Oh, in my one, it's back to front though. Is it back to the front?
No, it shows it. You need
Oh,
to
right.
your
Okay. Yeah.
image mirror. So you when you
I'm in the treatment room. There's all the lasers. This is the training
be
treatment room.
careful, there
There's
are
all the
lasers.
lasers
Yeah,
behind me.
yeah.
Yeah.
So come on, introduce yourself to the audience.
Okay. So I'm Sacha Bright. I'm the founder and CEO of Laser on Tour, as you can see in the background. Co-founder, should I say, and I'm in partnership with my girlfriend. And we got the first home visiting laser hair removal service in the world, where we have these 9 kilograms machines that we developed in partnership with a manufacturer. And yeah, we basically bring clinics into people's homes, laser clinics. And so really disrupting the space because
Yeah,
these
it's
machines
just
don't
it's
get.
just like you to be pioneering, disrupting, annoying other people. Oh, he's walking around with these things now, because you see with a laser machine, it's like, you need a couple of here, mate, get the other side. But listen, it's really great to have you on the show, Sash. It's not the first time we've spoken to each other like this. I have always thought of you. You know, when I first met you, well, when I first met you, that's a different story. But the thing that I remember the most about you is that you'd say when you was doing web design and web building and online marketing, you used to just say, right, look at the bank account. I need some more money, and you'd go out, knock on doors, need a website, and you come back
Yeah,
with this. And I thought to myself, God, if people could just get, look, listen, that's really simple, but there's something about you that just, we had this conversation earlier. You circumvent. You hit the wall and you think, okay, I'll try again. You meet even 3 times, then you think, oh, I'm going to go over it, I'm going to go under it, I'm going to go around it, I'm going to dig a tunnel, I'm going to get a plane, fly over, parachute. You'll find some way of getting there. So, I mean, would you describe that as your entrepreneurial spirit, or is it because you got bullied as a kid?
yeah. Well, with a name like Sasha, I did get bullied as a kid, slightly, as you know. But yeah, I mean, it would have been. I think my mum has a lot to do with it as well. The paper round. Remember the paper round story? Did I ever
Mm.
tell you about that? Where
Yeah, tell the
uh,
audience. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So when I was like 10 years old or whatever it was, the age that you do paper rounds, I think it's about 9, 10. Get
You
up
get
at like,
arrested for that now if you try and
yeah,
get to go to
like 6
work.
a.m. in the morning. But they really installed a work ethic in me, my parents, and I had to get up in the morning, do this paper round every morning. Come Christmas, one day there was a guy, it was a Polish guy, and he was up super early every morning, and it's come around Christmas time, and he went, hey, come here, and gave me a fiver, right? Which then, I mean, it's to a kid, it was a lot of money. It's still a lot of money today, actually, I think. But £5 for whatever it is, but don't go very far. But the bottom line is yeah, it gave me a fiver, and I was super sort of like I was like over the over the moon with it, and went home, said to my mum just before I went to school, "I've got a fiver this morning. This is great." She went, "Right, okay, you." So I was like almost being told off. And she said, "Come home from school. I'm going to pick you up from school. We're going to go to John Menzies." I said, "Oh, what the hell are we going to go to John Menzies for?" So
What
my
was
mum
John
had
Menzies? Remind
you
me.
remember John Menzies, like W.H. Smith's,
Ah,
like
yes, 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 yes.
John Menzies in Waltham Cross.
Yes,
And
yes, I remember it.
remember, and so we went down to, she picked me up from school, and I thought it was almost like a punishment. She's gone into John Menzies and said, right, we're going to get, how many people on your paper round? I was like 150 people, let's say, on my paper round in the morning. So she went, right, let's get 150 Christmas cards. And she already knew in her mind what she was going to do. And she's got me these 150 Christmas cards. She said, well, now go and write the names of all your customers. She called them customers. They're about people I just deliver newspapers to. I'm like 10. I didn't know their names. I just don't know what number it was. Number 43, Royal
Number
Avenue. Number
43.
Yeah, that's exactly, do you know what I mean? And right, so I've got dear number 43, blah, 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 Avenue, Merry Christmas, your parents. It's like doing lines as a kid, you know? Like, I'm like, well, I thought I'd done something good. I got a fiver, right? So basically, got these Christmas cards all written out. And next thing, she said, okay, it's about 6 o'clock in the evening. Everyone's sort of home now. No one's home. Like, no one's up at like 5 in the morning when you've been doing the papers. Yeah, we're going to get there about 6:30. So knocked on and she said, right, can I just put it through the door like I do a paper? I said, no, you're not putting it through the door. You are not putting it through the door. You go up to that door. I said, oh, really? You go up to that door and you knock on the door and you say, hello, Mr. Number 43, I'm your paper boy, right? Didn't even know their name. So I've knocked on this door, gone, hello, number 43, I'm your paper boy, little blonde, cute kid. Da, da, da. Oh, oh, God, it's Christmas time. Oh, she'd run off. Oh, George, if you got a fiver. Da, da, da. Anyway, made me knock on every door. I come back with like about 150, 200, like 150 quid. I worked till 9 o'clock at night.
You little
In two
blonde boy.
hours, in 2 hours, I earned £75 an hour in like
Wow.
1980 something.
Wow.
And that was the story about really, if you knock and ask, you
You
will
will
receive.
receive. Wow.
Right? And also, it was a lesson about marketing. Do it when people are in,
Yeah.
and not in the morning. And that's always been installed in me. So, literally, we teach the girls here. When you're going to laser hair removal, tell everyone what you do when you're going down
Yeah.
the pub. I
Yeah.
mean, Ned and I go out down the pub to meet people, and we walk. People
Mate,
come and say,
the pub was always your office anyway. I remember you said, right, I'm going to the office, right? I mean, by the way, audience, Sasha and I are good friends and we spent many times in the pub. And Sasha would go to the pub and if something would turn up. Like you talk to enough people, it's a numbers game. You talk to 10 people, maybe nothing. You talk to 15, you get a gig, or whatever the ratio becomes,
It's
Brilliant.
all. It's. I mean, there's always a number, and there's always a solution as well, isn't there? And if something's working, if you could, when we launched this business, the laser. Should I tell people about how we launched it with the laser hair removal,
I'd love to. I thought we'd just go a bit more chronologically, but we can jump about. It's not a problem because you doing paper rounds was just the start of all this entrepreneurial lifestyle, wasn't it? I mean, that's the thing I think that kind of connected us when we first met. This appreciation for what it takes, to go
yeah.
out and make a living on your own terms. And I think that's not everyone, and it's not for everyone, is it? Really, to be fair. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
everyone's got a little desire for it. This I was talking to you earlier. Like this business that we got now, we're changing people's lives and teaching them how to become entrepreneurs. Really, we're giving them all the resources to do it. But it's amazing that we put the adverts out there on Meta to so that's the whole new world now. When you're scrolling through at night, people are spending. Bottom line is people are doing 6, 7 hours a day screen time, right? So you need to be where they are, and that is either Instagram or Facebook or some
so
doing some.
hold on. Does that mean you don't go to the pub anymore?
Well, exactly.
Oh,
Still got
yeah,
to
at
go
the
to the
pub.
pub.
Yeah, at the pub. Hold on a minute, mate.
Do it in the pub. People
Yeah,
do. They sit
yeah.
next to each other having a pint, going like that. Right? So you literally, that's it. So you've got to be in those places, and that's the channel. Even on a local level, it used to be Yellow Pages years ago
Yeah, yeah,
that if
yeah.
you wanted something.
And
But we get
you were involved with Yellow Pages at one point as well, weren't you?
Yeah, yeah. I did launch the first. Not Yellow Pages. I did the Yellow Pages training. I went from owning my own business to saying I'm never going to be in anything contract cleaning again, which is
Well,
another
that
story.
was a whole different story.
And then went technical and said, look, I wanted to be in tech. And I joined a company called Scoop.com, which was the first online internet directory. And all the Yellow Pages guys came over to Scoop and then I sold so many, adverts on that platform. Then I headed up the team for selling websites, and then I sold more websites than anyone else. And then really, really quickly, and then started my own website design
That's
business.
when you went from there to EQ. EQ.
That's it. Then we set up EQ, and then the dot-com crash happened, and I had everything on my credit cards. We were in it was called actually. What was it called back then? It wasn't called EQ. It was called SurfWeb. And so me and a guy from Scoot actually set up a company called Surfweb, and we sold 600 websites in 6 months.
Wow.
And we didn't know what we were doing then. It was like,
Well, no
I
one
don't know,
did.
just
But to be
no one
fair,
did.
nobody did they? Because it was like being
No.
with AI now, everyone's just finding out for themselves and they're going out there and doing it, and you didn't.
Our pricing was hilarious. When me and Nev, we were sitting in Colton luggage, and we were in like quoting them for doing the first e-commerce website. We never knew what we were doing. We thought we'll just sod it. We'll find out a way how to do it. And we're like they're in front of them going, oh, how are we going to work out the price? And I went, oh, I don't know, 5 grand. And Nev went, no, no, 15. We're discussing this in front of the board. And in the end, I think we went, oh, 50, right? 50,000. And then the guys looked at us, the board of directors, and went, can you tell us, guys, how that how you came to this number? And I looked at Nev and I went, we thought of a figure, doubled it, and added a couple of noughts, and they just laughed because that's exactly what we did. And they laughed and they went, all right, okay, let's go ahead. And we walked out with a 15 grand deposit. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, to start it. And we didn't have a developer or anything. Oh yeah, we were just just guessing. We thought, like, if somebody else can do it, I can. We'll just find out how to do it. Uh, and that come from another story, actually. It was my first girlfriend's dad. You learn things. That was my mum that actually said to me, go out and get things and just knock on doors and don't and ask, right? And all it is a pure numbers game. And it was my girlfriend's dad. I was explaining to him that I wanted to start a business, and he had his own business. And he said, you're just an idiot. You're just a talker. Like, you don't do it. He said, you just talk about it. And I went, and I got angry. And he went, look, I said, but I don't know how to do it. He said, do you think I knew how to start my business when I started it? He said, and he had a paving factory, right? Like doing paving slabs. He said, do you think I knew how to make, he said, I knew how to knock a bit of cement together. Do you think I knew how to actually set up a machine? He said, but what I did is I phoned up all the manufacturers and I said, look, I want to start this business up and I've got some money. Can you come down and show me? So he said, and I just asked the guys that sold the machines to show me how to do it. He said, then I learned how to do it. He said, now then I've got my business. He said, wherever you don't know, learn it and find out how to do it,
Wow.
and then you can achieve it. And then I went and I got so annoyed with that, I went straight down the road. I had the idea for the cleaning company and knocked on the first pub door. That was my mum telling me to go knock on
Don't
doors.
knock on doors.
Yeah. And he goes, and I said, I've got an idea of cleaning your pub, mate. And he went, funny enough, I'm really unhappy with the cleaner. Really? Okay, all right. He said, he went, go on, give us a price. I went, oh, how much do you pay for your contract cleaning company at the moment? I've got this notepad and a pen, and I'm walking around going, like I know what I'm doing, measuring stuff. And he's then gone, I said, how much do you pay? He went, 80. I said, 79? He went, yes, go ahead. It's suddenly got funny. The Zoom camera's gone straight in there.
It's because you're leading,
Yeah.
I
So that
reckon.
was my first customer. And then he told his mate, I've got a
And then
great
you've got
cleaner.
that.
Then he told his mate. Then he
Oh,
told his other mate. And then before you knew it, it was called the Pub Scrub Cleaning Company. And that was my first, that was the other thing that I learned. Don't just do a business on a a fat packet idea business plan and go like that because you never know what you're going to get into. Before you knew it, I had 60 cleaners working for me at like 18, 19 years old, and I was driving around with XR3i wheels, Escort, pub scrub cleaning company on the side, and Maureen, my cleaner, was my driver because every pub I went in on a Friday's bit of money up, they'd go, do you want a pint?
yeah.
By 7 o'clock at night, I was like, my mates used to take me home, and they'd been out.
Yeah, I can totally imagine that, man. That does not stretch the imagination for me at all. That just makes
Yeah.
complete sense. Oh my God, you're so funny. Oh,
XR3i, Maureen.
XR3i with pub scrub on the side. But I think isn't that beautiful though? I think that's beautiful. Like seeing a young guy, ambitious, driven, more enthusiasm than what they call it, ignorance on fire. You
Yeah.
know what you're doing. You're just doing it, and you're finding your way because you just have a desire and a drive.
I didn't know how to pay the people. I mean, literally, I'd buy envelopes and I'd get like the 80 quid and go, right, okay, well, It's half and half. I'll give the cleaner 40. So I put 40 in the envelope and then I put it in the Henry Hoover. And then in the morning, they'd get their money, they'd have their wages.
Oh
And then I'd
wow.
have a pint and go to the next pub. And that was it. And then
Oh, God.
that led on to my girlfriend's sister was the manager of Nationwide Building Society. And so we called the pub scrub and we'd gone in there and she said, cleaner's letting me down. I said, well, I'll do it. So I said, like, what do you pay at the moment? That was it. And then matched the price.
That's your clothes. What do you pay
Yeah,
at the
that's
moment?
it.
One
Pound
pound
off,
less. I'll take that.
£1 cheaper. And and the bottom line is then I got the contracts for the Nationwide Builder site. But I was in there one night, and the area manager was in there. And actually, what happened was we ended up saving. It wasn't a pound on that time. We ended up saving them like they were being overcharged about £2,000 a year, right? So he'd come in and said, "Oh, how you doing?" And this is my girlfriend's sister, Nicola. And he's like, "Yeah, this is my business. I've got pubs, but this is my first bank I'm doing. Is I'm really happy." And I said, "But I said, how many branches do you look after?" He said, 20, 24. I said, "Oh," I said, "I just saved you £2,000 here." I said, "So aren't you on like targets for budgeting and stuff like that?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "So if I saved you £2,000 a branch, I'd save you £50,000 a year." He went, "You would?" He said, "I want you to go around every branch and do an analysis for me." So I went round every branch, done a quote. Anyway, I didn't, but I should have been smarter then. I should have asked each branch what they were paying. But, I
A
was only
pound less.
20, I was 20 years old. No,
I
apparently
saved
I
you £12.50 per branch.
yeah. Well, apparently I think I sold him about over 100 grand, like when I'd done my assessment of
Oh,
it. And of course, then he came back because it was so much money. He went, "I want you to start Monday." I went,
am I going to do 24 branch?
Just
24.
don't go in for 24 cleaners. I said, "I can't start Monday." He said, "Well, you got to." He said, "I've sacked everyone." I went, "Oh, fuck." I said, "I ain't even got the money. I've got to go and buy 24 Hoovers." He said, "Mate,
It
I've got Hoovers. I've got no money." I said,
sounds like it sounds like Del Boy. I will paint that for you.
yeah. So he just went, "Look, I tell you what we'll do, Sasha, we'll invoice me up front and we'll basically get your payment really quick. And then look, you pay your cleaners 4 weekly instead of 2 weekly." Then I went again and got all the Hoovers on account. And then I said, "Look, can you just kind of put it off for 2 weeks?" I said, it was a bank holiday weekend coming up. I said, "So I could probably do it all on that bank holiday weekend." And he was really, I went, "Yeah." I said, "Let's get right." So then it was like advertise, all the adverts went out. I had Maureen, my PA, my cleaner, my PA, my
Your
driver.
driver,
Yeah,
your
Anne
minder.
Saville, and who's my bookkeeper, who's like a Scottish girl, like used to like keep me in check. And she's going, "We've got all this advertising." And I had interviews booked, or as many as I could. And then we just said, "Look, we'd get 3 people to actually turn up the branch, and we'd interview them and start them on the day." And only one turned. Some branches one turned out, some turned out. Of course, I'm 19 years old. Pub scrub cleaning company. I've got keys to 24 banks and their alarm codes.
I think you missed the trick there, mate.
I know. Shit,
Because they,
Sasha,
they probably had cash back then.
yeah, exactly. Sasha, the great bank robbery.
The heist of 95.
And then I'm in Cyprus with you now with
Yeah,
a pirate.
exactly. That's well, let me tell you my story. I bought all these Hoovers, went into banks and cleaned up
How did you
and
get
I
it out of the
cleaned
bank?
up.
I put it in the Hoovers. I cleaned up.
Oh man, that's so funny. That is so funny. So I remember when we first met, you were doing a website for a client of mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember?
Oh, yeah. Gabs.
Yeah. You was doing their
Gabs.
website, and I said, right, it's time to do the website. And I looked at the website, I thought, what the fuck is this? Right?
Yeah.
They said, oh, you got to meet our guy, Sasha. He's a really good guy. And I went, all right, we'll have a little see. And I come along, and I think I said something about the website, and you thought, what? Who the hell does he think he is?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. I don't know. How do you remember it? Because I
I
remember
can't remember.
really.
You're always defensive, aren't you? You sit there going, I can't remember. But I think I told them what to do. The thing is with the clients back then, you'd say, "Look, this is what you have to do. You've got to do this, and this." And they're still the same, to be fair.
Yeah, they
They
want, they
just
want
don't
what
do
they
it.
want.
They don't do it. They don't give you. And really, the key is the content comes from them. You don't. I don't know how to fix a car.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
too
mean?
true.
So,
But that's
and like,
interesting because I'd come in, the way I remember it, I'd come in. I mean, I'm audience, I wasn't that brutal or rude, of
yeah,
course. But, I come in and whatever they had wasn't, to me, wasn't going to represent what we had evolved the
yeah,
business into. And then Sasha and I told him my ideas, blah, blah. And I've got to say, mate, fair play to you. You went, yep, we can get that done. We can get this done. And then the way I remember it, then I shared with you what I do. You told me more about your business. And then you said to me, do you want to have an office in my office?
yeah,
But the office under the stairs. I went, I, yeah, okay. Like that. And that was it. We just like hit it off and like I think we used to be in the pub almost every day. There was a
yeah.
period.
Good days in the afternoons. I like that.
We used to
Finishing
go, we
early.
used to
Work
go to
really
the,
hard to finish early.
you know what the girls used to say to me? Dad, used to pick us up from school. I'd go and walk and get them. And then I used to live in town back then. And I'd walk
Yeah,
to the pub. What was it called? The Woolpack, quite
yeah,
often. And then you'd turn up, and then your kids would turn up, then your missus, then my missus, and then someone else would turn up with their kids. It was like until 8 o'clock, it was like a play group. It was
yeah, yeah.
running around drinking whatever they used to drink, those fruit shoots or whatever, and apple ciders.
Fruit shoots. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why
munchies
they've
and
got no
munchies.
teeth now.
They got no teeth now. And it was just such a nice way. I don't know. I look back at those days. I loved it, man. We did it was a nice lifestyle, to be living in
We kind
Hertford.
of we still we have here, like I say, in this new office here, we've got like a bar in the corner, and so Fridays we finish like a little bit early, and everyone comes down. But you still kind of when although you're celebrating, you're having fun, you talk about the week, you're always working, aren't you? Like
AB,
last
ABC, always
yeah.
closing.
Always like last night, one of our girls came down from Harrogate,
Oh,
so
nice area.
we went to the practitioner, we had lunch, but while we're in there, it was till 8, 9 o'clock at night. We're still working, we're talking and we're working, we're talking about sales, where how you're getting your customers, where you're getting them from, how you closing them, where you're looking for them, what you're doing with your treatments. So,
Yeah.
I did 2 to 3 hours like that. So I enjoy life. That's, in fact, in our core values. I don't know if you remember writing them with us, but it's a big thing for me.
Mm.
Joy to be. It's actually one of the top three core values. We want to enjoy what we do, and although we're serious and we're professional and we're out there, we giggle, right? We
Yeah.
laugh,
Yeah, but
right?
I think that's so much in your personality. And I remember I think you did Be Inspired with me twice, maybe three times.
Yeah, to be
Yeah.
inspired.
In that
Yeah,
room you're in now, we did it in
yeah,
there.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
And there was something about you, if I remember right, it's spontaneity and like living the joie de vivre, the joy of life. Let's enjoy life and let's make it fun. And I'm sure there's times when life is not fun and it's serious and there's those times. But you generally, most of my experience with you is like having fun, asking interesting questions, trying to work things out on a mission, which brings me back
yeah,
to something that just came to mind, right? Um, Business agent. Like
yeah.
I think you came with me to, what was his name? Simon, the guy,
Simon Dixon.
yeah, Simon Dixon. I took you. I said, "Come on, I'm going to this thing about crowdfunding.
Yeah,
I think it's called Bank of Future, Bank to the
Back
Future,
to the Future.
Bank to the
Back
Future."
to the
Right? It was
Future.
it was like launch days of that, and then you came along with me, and you saw this whole world of crowdfunding and tell the story in your words. But it was like you just like I could have brought 100 people there, and they wouldn't have done what you did. And what you did, I know in the end it didn't work out maybe in the way you pitched it, but you pitched it.
Yeah.
You get what you pitch for, as they say in the trade, right? So, I mean, just so fundraising, creating a vision mission, creating an investment pitch, hitting the road and getting that shoe leather worn out, getting in front of people. Go on, tell us. I'm taking away your thunder. Apologies, but
I
you know,
learned a lot. I mean, you always learn, don't you? I mean, basically, when I went to that uh, launch, if you like, it was the first. There were equity crowdfunding sites launching and debt crowdfunding sites launching. So, the bottom line is equity crowdfunding. I literally got it immediately because I was involved in the internet, and I could see 1 million people putting in £1 to fund a business, and every business that I had up to that point it was always struggle about getting capital. We'd gone through the 2007 crash. Every bank that you went to, you'd go, "I've got a great idea," but they
well,
wouldn't give you the
banks
money.
weren't funding businesses; they were pulling funding.
They were pulling funding. And they were. And in fact, they were pulling funding because the cash in their bank was actually worth more to them. So they were closing businesses down.
Mm.
And so that's why equity and debt crowdfunding began. Because obviously then with debt crowdfunding, you would, what same thing, you could have 1,000 people put in £1,000 and that could lend someone 100 grand, sorry, but that's 1 million, but you've got, and then you set the interest rate at 7%. So instead of getting 1%, you could get 7, you could get 10, you could get 15% interest, and you spread the risk across 1,000 people. So you were bypassing the banks. The
Mm.
banks didn't like that. The
No.
regulators didn't like it, but the government's thing back then was basically, look, actually, you've let us down. There was a political pressure on the FCA to change, and so they accepted us. And in fact, new banks got established. This has gone a complete flip around to the person that I've recently met. Actually, so everything happens for a reason. But when I went to that Bank to the Future event, and then I did the research, and there was thousands of these enterprises opening up all across the world, and it was starting to go. I went, there needs to be an aggregator.
So
Uh,
just for people, aggregator is like your auto trader or your
that's it.
what's the house one?
Right move.
Right moves. It's basically where everyone can find all the different
Yeah.
opportunities listed, and you could filter
So,
them, search them.
exactly. So I'd sold advertising at Scoop, which essentially was an aggregator of data,
Mm.
all the businesses and they sold advertising.
So one thing I just want to
And
pause you for a second. It's a really important lesson here. Sorry, Sash, because you are building on previous experience, like what
yeah,
you learned at school and what you learned with the pub scrub and what you learned knocking on doors with your mum. It's compounding. So by being out in the game, you're compounding your experience, and you have different skill sets or experiences to draw from. And
yeah,
I think that's what you've done really well. You kind of this is I'm going to relate to Laser on Tour about photocopiers.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
like the way you
Yeah,
bill on that, like per click, right? So it's like your varied experiences are becoming compounded. That's what I see. Because if you just went into a career and stayed in one career, did one job for your life, you're not going to have that diversity.
no,
Not in that
no,
not in that way. Um, so sorry, please carry on.
yeah, it's
I'm just
success.
drawing out the lessons because I think because people say to me, well, what do you know about blah blah blah? And I go, hopefully nothing that you don't, because I'm not going to teach you to do what you do any better. But I've been in and out of, I don't know, by this time, what, few 100,000 businesses, and there's certain patterns. You can see certain, I can see things in, what they do in maybe hairdressing or in motorsport, or there's something they might do in motorsport that you never connect to another industry because those things don't necessarily cross paths. But with a good coach that has had that
Yeah,
experience of different, if you like different genres, you can sort of pull from there and go, well, why can't we do that here? And I go, we've never thought of that before. Ah, there you go. And off they go. And I think you do that very well, really well.
yeah. I mean, it's the website design business that we had for all those years when we went out on our own. Obviously, like we 600 websites. I mean, I think I've got over, and I've still got that small business today. Sorry, there's noise in the background,
I
but
can't
we've
hear
got.
you.
Oh, that's good. We've got over. I think probably I've built over 3,000 websites in our database, and each person is like you. You go into a business and you find out about them,
Yeah.
and you find out what they do, and there are overlapping technologies and overlapping systems. It's like and competition. One of the biggest things I learned about competition is good, and to learn from it.
Mm.
Okay, so whenever you do a business, rather than doing the fag packet thing from the pub scrub and end up with like a cleaning company, okay, it was successful, but um, literally do a proper plan and do a competitor analysis.
But this is something you started to talk a lot more about after you got into the
Oh yeah,
crowdfunding
because
aggregators, like the SWOTs and the competitor analysis and competition, like really understanding your market from a holistic point of view to understand how you, I don't know, set your strategy up. So with Business Agent, you went SCIS, didn't you? EIS. Yeah,
yeah,
SCIS is seed enterprise investment scheme, and then you got enterprise investment scheme, which is basically tax breaks for investors. But again, all this was not new for you. You
yeah,
went in and you kind of learned it. And if I'm right, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm bigging you up more than you should be bigging me up right now. Right now, you went and got a financial accreditation as well, didn't you?
Oh, I did. Yeah, they said I couldn't launch the company.
Yeah, unless
Uh,
you had some kind of financial
Yeah, so
accreditation.
basically, when I launched, I came up with the idea of the aggregator of bringing all the crowdfunding sites and all the debt crowdfunding sites together and then rating them. Basically, the FCA said, look, well, first of all, they turned around and said, actually, you don't need to be regulated. This was the stupid thing. And then I'd read the rules and I said, well, actually, these are the rules. And I think we do need to be regulated because these are high risk investments and we specialize in them. And therefore, we need to be regulated under the financial promotion rules. So they went away, thought about it, and then come back and actually said, "Oh yeah, you're right, Mr. Bright." Okay, so they told
Right
me,
by name, right by nature.
okay, exactly, and then I said, "Okay, so now I need to be regulated," and so we made that, and they went, "No, you're not qualified." I said, "But I told you that I need to be regulated, and you didn't know that you didn't." And they went, but you have not enough experience in the financial services world, and you need to have all these compliance things and stuff like that. And I went, and so you can't run the business. And I went, well, what qualifications do I need? And they gave me a list. I can't remember what it was. It was like level 3 or level 4. I do know the levels now because we do level 4 for laser actually. So it's like level 3 or level 4 in compliance. And I said, well, how long will it take to get? And they said 2 years. I said, well, can it be done any quicker? And they said, well, I think it might be able to. And so I literally went, well, let me go and find out. And I went and basically found someone to help me, and I passed it within 4 weeks, the
There you
exams.
go.
And I'd never got any exams at
No,
school.
exactly, man. I think that's what makes your that drive. It's like, okay, there's another wall or another barrier. I'm going to break through that barrier. And in the end, how much did you raise in total?
Over the years, I mean, that was the issue as well. We didn't ever raise enough in one single raise, but it was over about 3.5 million over 12 years, and we never actually broke the mold. In fact, just before it closed, we had actually had the business working, and then the FCA come in and closed it down. Um, but it took us sort of 12 to 14 years,
Yeah,
and
but I
we had
mean,
so many
but
issues.
Sash, I mean, that's a phenomenal achievement to raise that kind of money for your business and keep your lifestyle going and pay your bills. And I'm sure there were times where you look at the bank account, there's nothing there, and you're raising
Oh,
all this money, and you're kind of like you're on a mission, aren't you? You know.
it,
Let's go full circle. I'll bring it back to Laser on Tour because
yeah.
when you first started on Laser on Tour, you asked me to get involved for about 6 months. I worked with you guys. We did vision mission.
Yeah,
We did personality profiling, disc, all sorts of stuff with you and Neda. And I think that was what, over 2 years ago now, probably?
Yeah, yeah. When we started to launch the franchise side 3 years ago, because I wanted you to coach Neda a little bit because I was too close to it and
Yeah.
coach this and come in because Neda's my partner in life and partner in business, which can be tough.
Yeah.
But she's amazing. She's beautiful and she's so driven. But she'd never been through all of the things that you go through in business, like people letting you down and the expectations and everything. I mean, she's brilliant now. She's a different beast. She's a beast. I'm telling you, she's really strong.
I just think when
Um,
did I see her last? I think I saw her in May, didn't I? When I was over.
yeah,
So it's been a while. So she's progressed, she's developed. Uh,
yeah,
And
amazing.
just to plug me a little bit, I find the disc reports are a really good way for people to kind of get a sense of where their strengths lie and where they're not. I mean, you're clear about your strengths because you've been at it a long time, but it's interesting to see if you juxta her with you and your partners, you're very, you're covering very different aspects of the
Well,
business.
you're very good, and you'll want me to plug you, not that you deserve it. No, you're very good because of all the experience that you got at that side of it, actually, like the psychological side of the business, the personality profiling, understanding all the coping mechanisms of what you actually go through in business. You don't. I think you've learned so much that you've actually forgotten it. But for me, we were having issues where Ned wasn't been able to concentrating on the right thing. We did that example about make the boat go faster. What
Yeah.
makes the boat go faster, and getting her to focus on those things rather than all the noise that's on the outside. And it's very emotional when you're in business. It's your life savings. It's your everyday work. It's literally you're working 24 hours a day. First thing you think about in the morning, last thing at night. And you take someone on, you impart that information on you, and they try and steal your customers, or they
Yeah.
try and steal your ideas, or they fucking, sorry, I'm swearing,
You
but
can
they,
swear.
yeah, they well, exactly, they muck it up, and you just one thing after another. We had people try and steal our machines in the early days. We've had people try and steal, and it's all.
See, that's all the stuff that people don't really, they see the outward side of the business, they see the service, I mean, oh, look at them, they're doing well, and they have no idea what you've had to deal with along the way, which is the inner core of it. But I've got a question for you, and I'm going to probably drop you in it now. I don't know if you can answer this
Yeah.
question well, right? But it's a question I've been asking myself. Is have you noticed a big difference? Because now you're working in a very female industry. You said to me earlier on you're watching a podcast with a woman in it, and
Thank you.
I think now, yeah, I think now I've become more aware of the differences of men and women than I've ever been in my life, right? And Neda's about as woman as they get,
Yeah.
you know, in my opinion. Like she's a woman, lovely, beautiful woman, great person, lovely, but she's a woman. You're very man. You're a lovely, beautiful person, but you're very man, right? And now you're working in the industry with a lot. You know where I'm going with this, right? So, what have you learned about working with women? I mean that I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but like because they do, from what I see, they operate very different to us, and it's very easy for you to walk in as the guy you are and stamp all over the female psyche when you're building a women, you're building a business that's targeted at women, delivered by women for women.
Can I take the fifth?
Huh?
Can I take the fifth? Do you know what? Do you know
Sorry,
what?
just
There was,
what do women want? Is what I'm asking.
you're going down a street years ago. No, I'm going to tell you something. This is a funny story as well. I remember going to hypnobirthing with my wife years ago.
Hypnobirthing.
Hypnobirthing, and we're all in the room, guys and their wives, all pregnant, and the woman at the front said, "Has anyone got anything to say about what's up with their wives, have what their problems are, or anything like that? Anything for the guys? It's this one to the guys." And all the guys in the room just looked at each other, and there was fear.
You can smell
Never
it.
said a word.
You
And
can
never
smell
said a word. And there's me at the back. And I went, is anyone going to say anything about the fucking hormones?
it.
And every woman just looked at me like that. So we should take the fifth on this one. However, what I think you're trying to get at is, and it is hard in terms of, as women are beautiful, they're amazing, and very undervalued in business. And our mission actually is to help, create hundreds and hundreds of successful female entrepreneurs. And men and women do think differently. There's a feelings approach and there's a pragmatic approach, and pragmatism and feelings don't go together sometimes. And both have to recognize their own abilities. So what I've been able to do for Neda and the girls here is plug all the weaknesses for them where that their expertise and skills are not done, and they've actually plugged for me all the weaknesses that I've got, in the same way. So and 90% of our customers are women, and they want to be heard. And we all got our partners, right? We're all. I was watching Marissa Peer this morning, actually, great
That's the one you
psychologist.
mentioned, yeah, Marissa
Yeah,
Peer.
she's fantastic. And if you talk about what you're born with, when you're born, you want to be loved, right? And you want to be cared for. And actually, us guys want to be loved and
Of
cared
course we
for.
do.
And girls are much better at doing that, much, much better about doing that. And when you're being treated for laser hair removal, they were, not us guys could be like, come on, do you remember I was treating my dad actually for the,
I thought
did
you
I
were going to
do?
say, I remember you
Yeah,
treated
see
me not long
you,
ago.
did you?
Honestly, what was it like last year? He went in and did all my
I took the lesions off.
yeah, and he's
Well,
like, listen, audience, right? He's my mate. He's my pub mate. We've been camping, we do boys stuff, and I'm in his office, and he's laser treating me for my tags, and they're called tags, and this smell of burning flesh is coming off. He's laughing his head off, and I'm laughing, and he's like smoke coming up, and I'm like, I said, I said to you, Sash, do you remember we met? Do you think ever we would have? What was the chances of one day you'd be giving me tag laser treatment? Just
No. But the thing is, you've got to think about it. So we've been trained in this. We've got a Spain, we've got a new machine, and we tested it. And I said, come on, we'll test it on you. You've got loads of little tags. We'll do it. It's free. It's like a 500-600 pound treatment, I think it was, if not more.
well, you owe me
And,
anyway.
but the differences between me doing it and a woman doing it is that they'll be like, "Oh, are you okay?" Whereas I'm lasering him, and I've got no sensitivity whatsoever.
No,
I
no,
think it's
exactly.
the
It was
most
quite a brutal
hilarious.
experience, actually. It was quite a brutal experience, but but look, how much has life changed, man? You know, how much of our lives changed since we met, or along or in our journeys as men, where we find ourselves. You know, I'm like I was talking to an old college buddy today, right? And I haven't spoken to him for quite a while, and you know, I was at college 35 years ago, you know, and he said to me, "What you doing?" I said, "I've been in the garden. I like smelling the flower." Sister, are you all right? He goes, that's all old man stuff. I said, but I love it so much. I just enjoy it so much, you know. And I never, if ever imagined that I'd be in the garden planting fruit and
You're
veg.
much more in
Really,
touch with your feminine side, aren't you?
no, no, no. It's just life. Like I'm older than you, so a bit of respect, friends. But it's like you change. You know what makes you happy? There's a saying. I heard this when I first got in. I started getting into the garden. They said if you want to be happy for a year, get married. If you want to be happy for 12 years, get a dog. And if you want to be happy for life, get in the garden. And I've got to say, I think it's an old Chinese proverb, but it's like because I wake up in the morning, man. I honestly say, I'll get up in the morning and look one of the first things I want to do after I've got my hot lemon water or herbal tea, I go out and I walk around and I just look at all the different things and overnight they change and they grow. And I think life is and businesses noticing those distinctions, noticing those details, you know. And I think what you've done really well is you're not you pay attention, man. You can see things and you kind of predict ahead, like get in touch with the FCA, FCA, FSA, the FCA, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah,
They change. Yeah, yeah, and tell them that I need to be regulated. They go, no, you don't. They go away. They go, yeah, you do, but you can't do it because you haven't got. You like who would have done that? I mean, I just you know, I think there's something about the entrepreneur that's kind of is just a number of cycles ahead because you've got to be projecting into the future. Entrepreneurship is very much a future orientated activity, and I always just
yeah,
say to because I've worked a lot with accountants, and accountants, if you look at entrepreneur energy, it's very high, it's very up, and you look at accountants, it's very low energy because their energy is focused in the past.
yeah, yeah.
They can reconcile numbers. They can, but they can't really change what's happened. Whereas
No,
an entrepreneur is engaging and changing the future because they have a vision. And I think that's something that you do really well. I want to acknowledge that on the record.
on the record. Thank you very much. Yeah, no. Going back to what was it, laser on tour? What were we talking about now?
Well,
Where
I mean,
are
I
you?
think I think the fact that you're in a very female environment,
Ah, that was it. Yeah.
building a business predicated around beauty and personal care, and managing folic growth, and I don't know if that's the way you put it.
I think for girls though, it's really hard for them. They've been brought up differently. That the on it's in there. It is in there because what happens is we do loads of marketing on Meta, so we get a lot of response. There are a lot of women out there that contact us every single day wanting to start their own laser hair removal business. And that's what we do. That's what, essentially we train
Great,
them, we teach
we're here.
them.
We're ready for you. Where'd you live?
Yeah, exactly. And but they they just there's a fear. They have a fear. They haven't got that. There's only a few of them that have. It's in a very low percentage, but it's in there, and they need to be coached. That needs to be coached out of them a little bit. They can do it. They can do it, and they want to do it, but they've been what's that word? Conditioned
Conditioned, yeah.
to be that sweet little girl that smiles and not questioned and not question authority. There's a lot of manliness around the world where they're not questioning, and they've been told to be quiet, and they shouldn't be. They should be strong women. They should be out there,
Well,
empowering
I've got to
themselves.
say something on that. I get that, but we've kind of not but and we've had what 70 years of feminism and equal
Yeah,
opportunity, and it's still like women haven't really taken up. I mean, forget equality. I'm not saying women are less or worse than men. The difference that men still are the entrepreneurial side on the whole. They are the leaders, the protectors. We still would fall into our, if you like, our innate roles. But what I think what's happening with a good franchise and the work you've done is you're giving them everything they need to just insert themselves into, like, play that role. I don't know why I'm
Yeah.
doing that. It's like, but you know what I mean? Like going to get put that role on, and then play the role as opposed to have to be, write the theme tune, sing the theme tune. So you're taking care of so much of it that the sweet spot bit of doing the do is something that they can take and then grow a business inside a very nurturing entrepreneurial environment. I mean, I think that's what a franchise should be.
I mean, it's 36 years of my experience that's gone into it, and every from the Christmas card deal to the SEIS to raising capital to overcoming problems with machines and equipment and building them websites, stuff like that. Into lasers, into marketing, into meta, into insurance companies, into training policies. Overcoming. It's 36 years experience wrapped up so that they can actually go and do what they want to do. I mean, that's
which
what
which
that's
will
what
accelerate, which will accelerate. They build on that.
I actually said, look, if I, was to start another business, I'd actually consider actually buying a franchise.
Yeah.
Like my next business, I'd consider it because I now realise that there's so much in it. Like our model is basically 65% net profit and 35% of cost, and we take care of all that 35% of cost for them. So, the supply of the laser, well, how many lasers do you have to go through to see if you can get the right one? How many you can go? There's so many people out there have gone and bought a laser like for 50 grand. They got stitched up. It goes wrong. It's broken. When it goes wrong, it's like 5 grand to fix or 10 grand to fix. Who
No
do you
support, no.
who do you know? Where are you going to get trained? Oh, who's going to train you? Don't know how to train it. Who's going to insure you? When I set it up for NEDA, I found that 95% of the people that are out there are not insured correctly because the insurance brokers don't know what lasers are, right? So they go, oh, you just need this. You're an aesthetic person. None of them have got malpractice cover. So I went in and I said, Neda, you're not insured. We wasn't insured. When I set up Neda, she was not insured correctly. She had £195 a year policy. And she told the guy as well, told the broker, this is the pro. And he doesn't know the business. Nobody, that he didn't have the knowledge.
So it's like
Right.
really like you're looking out for your franchise. Look, the way I see it is as a head franchisor, what would you call it?
Yeah,
Lead head franchisor. Your job is to look out for your franchisees so they can
that's it.
go and concentrate on the bit that they do. So let me ask you a question. If someone's interested that's watching this now in being a Laser on Tour franchisee, what does it cost to get involved?
So we sell areas. So an area is basically a location, and we do it on population. So it's a population of 100,000. So where we are, it's like Ware, Hertford, and surrounding villages. It might be Ware, Hertford, and Hoddesdon. That would be one location. But if you think about it, in Hertford alone, there's like 10 musicians. So you are one location, and you're the only person that's actually going into people's homes because we've got exclusive rights over the lightest, most powerful laser in the world, a 9 kilo laser. So it's 25,000 plus VAT to get your license, but for that we actually supply the laser, which is worth over 30. And then what we do is our way we earn money is by selling you laser shots. So every time you treat someone, like it's bib, 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 we get like 1.35 pence a laser shot, which represents about 20% of the income. And then what we do is we've got a whole business model where we have a marketing budget and we guarantee to get you 150 inquiries a month.
Wow.
Then, yeah, we guarantee that. And then we also supply artificial intelligence with a WhatsApp and voice system that actually books you in appointments. So we get 150 inquiries, and AI then actually talks to the clients and then books you telephone calls so you can actually call them and describe the service. And then you also do a 5-day training course here where we teach you sales skills, selling skills, all the laser skills. Then you do a 3-month VTCT course. All of that's included. And we insure them. So everything's in a box. So for 25 grand post pat, that's it.
So 25K, they bought themselves a business off a turnkey operation with
Yeah.
support, with training.
Yeah,
with the
we say that
marketing background.
they need 40 really. They need 40 because you need 10 grand's worth of working capital to get started,
Mm.
right? So, and it's 25 plus that, so it's 30.
Yeah,
So
fair enough.
30 grand to buy the franchise and then 10 grand to get started.
Yeah.
And that covers you.
Oh, but you're
And we
starting a
need
business for 40 grand
40 grand
and you're
endless
making
there.
money from day one. As soon as your first
Yeah.
appointment comes in, you're making money.
And that 40 grand is everything. That's your advertising.
And
Everything.
how long would you expect? Sorry, Sasha, how long would you expect them to, like an average, not a exceptional, not a, underwhelming franchisee. How long would you expect them to basically get their 40 grand back?
Yeah, they can get it back within a year.
Hmm.
Um, but it just depends on how well they operate.
Yeah,
So the principle of our model is that our average order value is £1,500 for
yeah.
laser.
Because it's
Okay.
a treatment set, isn't it?
And it's a treatment that's a set of eight treatments. That's what we sell. And so for eight treatments, it costs you £1,500. And what we look to do is to sell two of those a week, which
Hmm.
is basically two new customers a week. So with our average, we get over 150 inquiries. We're looking between a 5 and 10% close rate on those inquiries, and
So
they're up.
yeah, sorry, mate. Go on. I was just doing
So yeah, so basically, look, if you look at if you took 10%, that's 15 customers. If you took 5%, that's seven and a half customers. Well, seven and a half times 1,500 quid,
yeah. There you go.
10, eleven
Well,
thousand
yeah.
pounds. So our business model looks for people to do those two customers a week, which actually totals 150 grand a year, and they've got 50 grand's worth of cost, so they've got 100 grand profit.
There you go. So what are you noticing about the profile of people that are kind of I assume all women at the moment, is it? Or do you have any male?
Yeah, no, all women, because obviously we have had men look at the model, and there's still people in the background looking. A lot of them, time it's husband and wife.
Mm,
That's the other thing. But we've got men looking at what we call our owner operator, our area model and our master franchise model in different countries, where they employ people, and it's like 10. But the base model, the 25 plus VAT, is what we call owner operator.
yeah,
And one of the reasons why we established that is that we didn't want staff. We wanted a business where we're delivering outstanding results, and stakeholders, people that own the business, care
yeah,
about it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, and when we launched it, because the whole thing came about when you know the story. Neda said she had 30 grand in a bank. I just met her. It was a whirlwind romance. Fell
You
in love.
thought, oh, I'll have that. Need a
She's gorgeous.
website.
She's stunning, right? And I fell for her immediately. And within a couple of months, she literally said, "I'm going to buy my own salon." I said, "Babe," I said, "I love you." I literally,
I
I
love
was,
you.
don't go and buy a bricks and mortar clinic. Please don't. You're going to be working for a landlord. I said, literally be working for a landlord. I said, you'll have to turn over. I've been around the block. You're going to turn over 200 grand a year before you've even
Yeah.
started to
Well,
earn
you've
your own
been
money.
touched it. Yeah, yeah.
Whereas if you go mobile, that £200,000 is yours. And she laughed at me. She said, Sasha, that's ridiculous. Come and have a look at this machine. She said, you can't take these machines around with you. All sorts of reasons. I've established a few disruptive businesses. So let me have a little look.
Yeah.
So she took me to the salon, and there's this massive 100 kilo machine. And I was like, okay, yeah, you can't really take that around. I'm sorry.
You can
And I
wait
went,
this time.
so I was like, I was undeterred. I went, give me a screwdriver. She went, what? I said, you got a screwdriver? So she's like, got this screwdriver, and I'm showing off. Took it off the back of the machine. And immediately I recognized obviously different things. I haven't built PCs and servers for the website design company and networks. So I was like, oh, right, okay, the cooling system. This is ridiculous. They've got like a 90-litre water tank. I said, what do you do? Spray the customers? She went, no, no, no. She said, it's just ice cold. I went, well, you don't need a 90-litre water tank. I said, why are these fans? Why are these fans? Oh, no, they get really hot. I said, but what? Why do they get hot? You don't really need those massive fans. And this power supply is ridiculous. So the first three things that I spotted, when we're building components for machinery or any computer was that. And I was like, that's like 90 kilos of this machine. This is a 100 kilo machine. It's got 90 kilos of wasted crap.
Can
I
you
said,
show us one of your units without too much trouble?
yeah.
The
These are the
picture
units.
paints 1,000 words.
Yeah, these are the units we use now, which is what we've come up with, which is nine. Can you see that,
Yeah.
James?
Yeah.
9 kilos. That's the back of it. And the bottom line is on the lasers, so it's up here
Yeah, I
there.
think the camera's doing its thing. But yeah,
The
God, so
cameras were throwing
basically
my
it's
head.
that
So I
goes
lifted
into
it up
like
a little
a
bit.
that goes into a little rucksack, doesn't it, if
It
I'm
goes
right?
into a little rucksack. So we've got a rucksack over
Could
here.
sell franchises.
And yeah, so goes into laser on tour. Can you see that?
Yeah.
There you go.
LOT, lovely. I love the simplicity of
And
that.
that that bit there is the top of most lasers, and the bottom bit is old technology. And just because something's small, it doesn't mean it's not powerful. Like computers,
No.
these laptop, the Mac that I'm on right now, is about 15 times more powerful than the desktop that I had last year.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
really, it's the size is not about it's the technology that's in it. Anyway, so I said to her, I said, look. I think I could build another one. And at the time, we had Chinese investors in the business, and I said, I'm pretty sure I could speak to them, and we could, spec out a different way of doing this and come up with something better. But if I've thought of it, somebody else has. So guaranteed, somebody out there would have thought of it. So I went to the market. I said, just give me 30 days. Don't do anything for 30 days. There was a buyer. She was literally going to buy the place. I said, give me 30 days and come up. So in that 30 days, I did all my research, everything that I've learned from the business agents days. I did a competitor analysis, and then I started looking at the market. I was like, wow, this is a massive marketplace. Everybody's got unwanted hair. So I went round it all, and I found a company in Spain called Molesman. I phoned up the CEO, managed to get through, said, look, I've got this idea. So funny enough, we built a compact laser and we just launched it. And because the girls want to move them from salon to salon and they can't move them and stuff like that, I said, well, can I come over and see it? So he was, yeah. So I flew over to Spain, saw him, met him, and then I said to her, this is awesome. Let's set you up a business. I'll build you a website, my website design company, and we get going. So she went to buy it with her last 30 grand, 'cause that's how much it was. And I said, well, you're better off leasing it and let's keep your cash. So let's get a lease. So she went to get a lease, and the leasing company said, you're a new business. We can't sign, you can't sign for it. And you haven't got a house. So I was like, oh, bloody hell. I'd only known her 6 months. I went, so that I'll buy it for you. So most guys went out and bought diamond rings. I
Oh,
leased
yeah,
her
I've got you a laser.
a 30 grand machine.
Gotta get rid of those hairs.
Exactly. Anyway, got the machine, got trained on it. I built Melissa Lancaster, who's one of our, she's brilliant. She's like the brand girl that I always use. As far as branding, one of the world-class branding girls. So Melissa, done us a favor, come up with a laser on tour brand. It's brilliant. We had, earn a lot more money, have all the lot done, the LOT. It was really good. And I built the website, and I believe in paperless technology. So I built the whole thing from a consent form and everything like that. Anyway, went away. 6 months later, sitting down with Neda, like, this is a year into the relationship, and I'm counting all this cash that she's got on her bed, like 25, 30 grand. I said, and then a bank account's gone up, and I've added up everything. I said, you took £13,000 this month. And I said, this is amazing. And of course, I'd seen her doing this. I didn't know anything about lasers back then and what it was and what the therapy was. And so that's when I said, if I can, you know, do this for you, I said, I'll be able to do this for other women. I said, that's 150 grand a year turnover. So if I could show a woman how to earn 150 grand, she wouldn't mind giving us 50, right? She'd be happy with 100 and we can take 50. And we can go all across the world changing women's lives in the same way as you. So let's start doing a franchise. And then I had the idea, because I used to sell photocopiers,
Mm,
of putting on the software. So I spoke to Fernando and said, look, Fernando, look, why don't I've got this software, can we put it on the machines where basically each shot is monitored,
yeah.
ding, 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 and we can sell laser shots. So then we built a laser shot
And that's your
system.
background in photocopy.
Photocopiers. So I had a photocopier company.
Yeah.
So I bought the photocopier software in, and then we built the website. Then it was all about regulation, which is obviously, regulation of lasers and stuff like that. So now I'm really looking into it, and insurance companies, because I'm in the city because of, FCA stuff. So I now pulled all my experience and went, oh, you're not insured properly. That took me 6 months. Then the insurance companies went, well, you can't do this in people's homes. We were just going out there doing it. And so, well, why can't we do it in people's homes? I said, why? What's the difference between a home and a clinic? Well, there's no training course for doing it. I said, well, I build a training course. So I went to CPD and I made
And you
my own
made a
training.
training course for it.
And we got
Oh,
the only mobile laser training course, and then we got the insurance. Now we've got the only insurance company that does mobile laser training, and now we've got the only machine. And we also, and part of that process was we had to learn how to make a clinic in somebody's home. So I said, well, what's the difference between a clinic? I've got a laser safety officer. And he said, what's the difference between this room and the same walls? So what's the difference? I can make it. Well, tell me what the difference is. I said, well, you've got no shiny surfaces. Okay. Well, let's move the shiny surfaces from the room. All right. Or choose a room that doesn't have it. Oh, we got windows. Well, can we
always
close the
close the
curtain?
curtains.
Yeah, we can close the curtain. Okay. So basically what we did is we built software that ticks off boxes, and then on the training course, we trained the girls to become laser safety officers, which then can do their own risk
So they can do
assessments.
their risk assessment when they get in the room.
So that
Amazing.
was the answer. So now
Yeah.
girls are laser safety officers as well as practitioners, and we've got the only mobile training course, and the insurance company now signs it off because it's signed off by a laser safety officer every time. Blah blah blah. So it's a whole. It's like asking why. Getting people. A lot of the time, people trying to protect their industry. We went through several laser safety officers because they don't want it to be. So these laser safety officers went, no, you can't do it. It's unsafe. No, you can't do it. It's unsafe. And I got to the seventh one and he went, I said, well, there's no difference, is there? And he came down and we had a chat. He went, well, if you do this, yeah, I'll get you. And so we ended up building the course around it. But all of
Brilliant.
them were protecting their
Yeah,
income because they
yeah, yeah.
because the government make them pay when you open up a clinic, they make you have a laser safety officer, which they charge £1,500 a year to come in and do a check to get the license,
Yeah.
right? And
Wow.
so they're
But this
protecting
is
their
all this is all on the path of disruption, isn't it?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
the
they're
path of
protecting.
disruption. Listen,
And
Sash, we've been an hour.
oh mate, and I've got to get back in there.
What did I say to you? He said to me, "Oh, how long is it going to be?" I said, "Well, no more than 45 minutes." You went, "All right, okay, we'll get it done quickly." Yeah, we'll go, "Yeah, yeah." But I think you and I talking for an hour and a half is going to be stopping the hard bit. So listen, I want to bring it to a
One
close.
thing, it was one
Oh,
thing that I think brought all back this. So, and it was mentioned, we didn't talk about Monzo.
Monzo?
In fact, you don't even know this, do you?
No. Do
Okay. Okay.
you
So,
want to save this for part two?
yeah, basically, it's an interesting story about now we have the founder of Monzo Bank, uh, who's an investor in Laser on Tour,
Wow,
and
what an achievement!
that I met through that. So, yeah, if you want to do a part two, we can tell
We'll
you
definitely
how.
do. Well, mate, I reckon we could do a monthly, mate, with you and me. So listen, I want to say thank you. 'Cause I know you're a busy boy. I know you live wild and you do all the things you love doing. But giving me the time for the show. I'll put all your details under the video, Sasha. If people want to get in touch with you and find out more about Laser on Tour or just say hi to you. What are your last? I'll give you the last words. What would you like to say to the audience before we shut it down?
I don't know, really. Was it just try and do something every day. The first thing you do every day is do something that's hard, and then the rest of the day will be easy. And if you pay it forward like that, you'll get all the things you want to do. So one of the things that I do every day is that first thing is I do is I learn, and then I do the thing that I really don't like to do first, and I do that really quickly, right, and I make sure I do it every day, and then I reward myself. And that thing that you don't like to do, it might be cold calling or checking your emails or doing something that's actually selling, is the thing that's probably going to make you money.
Yeah. Wow. On that note, thank you very much, Sash. Appreciate it.
All right.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you very much.